So next up we've got Jenna Hills. Jenna took a varied and exploratory path in her young adult years that involved studying sociology at the University of Western Ontario, training to be a Montessori directress, and being on the road in many beautiful countries, working as a caregiver for people with eating disorders, performing as a contemporary dancer, and gaining a fashion design diploma from the Helen Lafaux Academy. Although it was an exciting journey, it was not until she began her career at Lululemon Athletica 9 years ago that her own personal foray into leadership began. Jenna now works in the leadership and development team as a training manager and is fascinated with what she considers to be the source of leadership, personal responsibility. She has always been drawn to work for great leaders and teachers, and now she understands that leadership is within each of us, always. I think you'll find Jenna's personal energy to be contagious, just as we have. Please welcome Jenna.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. David, I thought you were hilarious. Okay, let me get situated here. Hi, what an honor it is to be here. So, leadership. Leadership has been on my mind in many of my conversations in the last year, for sure. Mostly because in my work, as of late, we've been having a real discussion, exploration into what is leadership at Lululemon. So we've had focus groups, we've had many meetings, we've gone back and forth, and really looking at different competencies and how to organize. And so it's been in that arena, in my work for sure. But what's been really interesting for me in the last year has been how it's had an impact on how I see myself as a leader. And to be honest, it hasn't been until this year that I even, well, let me put it this way, I've been pretending that I'm not a leader. For most of my life, up until this year, I've been straight up pretending that I'm not. I don't have it in me, I'm too sensitive, I can't take the heat, I'm not that smart, I don't have that strategic vision, whatever it was, to hold myself small and just not be accountable for my own leadership. And I was working great. And yet one thing I did understand about leadership, though, is that I still believe is true, and one of the reasons why I was in that space is that it is 24/7. It's a 24/7 gig. You step into your leadership, and it's not something that you step out of when you go home at 5 o'clock at night. So I first want to thank all of you who are here tonight, because to campaign, and as David said, to have the courage to stand for something that you believe in and represent for people is something that I think is very important, and so thank you. And for the rest of you who are here as an audience participation, this too is leadership. And this is what I'm learning. So when I started to dissect and really learn about how we were looking at leadership and make the distinctions, there was something that I noticed, and I've been always drawn to great leaders. I think I've worked for some of the best on this planet, the strongest teachers and leaders that I could find. I gravitated towards them because I loved being in their presence and learning from them. And when I learned about the different distinctions that make leadership, hold on, leadership, like the different competencies of leadership, let me go back. What I noticed is that if you had organizational leadership, let's say, so strategic vision I mentioned, innovation, talent cultivation, all these things that are really important and really valuable. When I looked at the leaders I loved and admired so much, it wasn't that really inspired me about them. And then another bucket that we were looking at is the ability to lead others. So generosity would be a core competency in there, collaboration, straight talk, candor, and those two I value and quite honestly can relate to and loved about these people, but it wasn't that essence that just had me wanting to be around them. And so it's when we got down to the source of what leadership really was about, it was these people's ability to lead themselves. Their lives were working. And I don't mean like they, had had this sort of job and this sort of thing going on, a white picket fence. Not in that way life was working. I mean, they could be in the face of whatever was going on around them and be present. You could say anything to these people and they could stand and listen. And I recognize in myself that I really felt at the mercy of my circumstances and how I was going to be able to react versus respond, which I'll get into. So I started to look and it's like, what is this leading self? And leading self, and what I mean by self, I mean this is a whole other talk, but what self? That self. What voice? That voice. The voice, the self, the you that gets you up and tells you to brush your teeth and what choices to make in your day. That self is what I'm speaking about. And these people have the ability to really manage and lead that part of them. So there's this practice that I started to get into in this last year that these people are in, which is the practice of personal development. And these are people that take themselves on. And so I stepped into it. I thought, can I do this? And now I see that I can. And not because of my experiences that I've had, but because I'm human. And I now have a pretty diligent self-development practice that is really my own. And the people that were leading themselves had one that was really their own. So what could it look like? For me, it's a yoga practice. It's probably 3 to 5 weekend retreat in personal development. It's exercise is really important. Meditation is really important, I find. Reading particular books and discussing them with people in self-reflection. Any activity that allows me to listen to myself. Self and hear what's going on, because what I'm learning is that there's really 2 ways that you're listening to yourself. You're either in what I would call response or react, and to be able to hear one versus the other is really, really powerful. So you got this practice that you do, but the results are fascinating. So you can get into a place as a leader, leading self, where you can actually be personally response able. And what I love about, what is the buzzwords? The buzzwords, this is a buzzword. Personal responsibility is a buzzword, especially in leadership. And how I look at personal responsibility now is the absolute ability to respond versus react. So what does respond look like? Respond is choice. Respond is possibility. Respond is love. Respond is commitment. React, he doesn't know these ones really well because we do it 25,000 times a day. Worry, fear, doubt, anger, judgment. And we're either in response or in reaction all day long. Now, reaction isn't bad. It's just that it doesn't serve us. This is what I start to notice. When I'm in reaction, I'm not actually able to serve myself, and therefore I cannot serve you. So these leaders that I was so touched by were actually able to shift themselves from worry and doubt and fear and judgment, usually to themselves or to the person they were listening to, react, creating more worry, more judgment, more doubt, more anger, not solving anything, not even present, and we're able to take a breath, get present, shift, and be in a commitment, be in choice, be in possibility. And the communication was so powerful. So, what else do I want to say about this? You can probably tell in this moment, like, this is my practice right now. So to be here tonight with you and speak about this is a really exciting moment, because it's I just believe so deeply that this is the key to us being able to be with one another. And personal responsibility doesn't have anything to do with issues. We can talk and listen about anything. And David said that perfectly with, if we want our politicians to be able to be courageous, then let's be in a disciplined self-practice so that we can be response-able, and anything anyone says to us, we won't react and send us into fear and worry and doubt and judgment and anger. We can stay with them and hear them from a place of of generosity and choice. And I just think that's one of the most generous things we could do for this planet. So, thank you.